Shaheen version, I think, with the Planeswalkers.
So we're underway. Andy is on the right. He's playing with the RFG brand sleeves. And he is going to use Warp Physique to take out Skursdag High Priest on turn 2 after James had played it on his second turn.
Yeah, and
this is probably going to be a Voice of Resurgence.
And it is.
And James is going to pass. There's Voice of Resurgence, the elemental that I'm a little upset isn't an elemental elk, but I'll get over it.
Yeah.
Wall of text there. Basically, it says your opponents probably shouldn't play spells on your turn.
Yep.
And when it dies, meaning when it hits the graveyard,
right,
you get a very large creature most of the time.
Well, you get a creature with power and toughness equal to the number of creatures you control. So.
And remember, that number varies.
Absolutely.
So if you Wrath,
it's a Keldon Warlord.
Yes, it's a Keldon Warlord, absolutely. When it leaves play, you put a Keldon Warlord in play. I like that a lot. Andy Sipka, over here on the right, he's a Peoria native, more known as a limited player. He played in several of the draft opens, including one of the, he finished second place in one of them.
So he shows the other Sphinx's Revelations. That's what I was trying to say. With the Forbidden Alchemy on his last turn, and passes back. James in with the Voice and follows up with Cartel Aristocrat. Passes back to Andy, who now casts a Planeswalker in the form of Jace, Architect of Thought, which he +1s, kind of neutering both of those cards, at least as far as their power and toughness.
A Cumberstone-like ability until your next turn, creates a delayed trigger until your next turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls attacks, it gets -1/-0 until end of turn. So he can announce the trigger as he does. It'll go down to 3, and there is another Voice of Resurgence. That one looks Korean or Japanese.
It certainly does. I think Japanese.
Japanese?
From what we can see.
Yes.
So Jace takes a little hit there.
And with the Cartel Aristocrat, James is threatening to make just enormous elementals on his next turn because he has a Lingering Souls in his hand. So Supreme Verdict isn't going to do exactly what Andy wants it to here, because these elemental tokens are going to be 2/2s currently.
Right.
They will immediately grow to 6/6 size once he plays. If he plays and flashes back Lingering Souls.
Exactly.
James's graveyard is also full now of 4 2-casting cost creatures.
Yeah, this is interesting. I'm just enjoying watching James's deck unfold at the moment.
Yeah, very entertaining. How
right,
it plays a lot like Junk Aristocrats sort of looks like, but it has the over-the-top game of Immortal Servitude.
So Lingering Souls. Andy can't do anything about it. Not only does he not have any lands untapped, he doesn't have counter spells in his 75. So yeah.
So here's 2 spirits.
It's so funny
Those
because
elementals will become 4/4s.
It looks so, the spirits seem so non-threatening. Yeah, that's the word I was thinking of actually, because of Jace, but they actually are doing a lot more damage than it would seem. So 2 4/4s, one hits Jace and one
hits Andy. He decides to leave the Jace alive, which I think is not a terrible play because it means what's up.
I thought Jace was on 4 there because he was at.
It was on 4. It went up to 5.
Then, I'm sorry, the Jace
went
Jace
down
trigger.
to 3, then went up to 4.
That's what it was. Okay.
And so the Jace trigger shrunk one of the elementals down to 3/4 size. Andy is going to drop to 15 from 18. That attack prevents Andy from playing another Jace.
Yep, at least this week.
And yeah, exactly. Until M14 comes out.
Well, I think the rule changes happen next week, from what I understand.
Do they?
I'm not.
We need to get
confirmation on that. I swear, I thought it was mid-June was the.
Well, we're headed to SCG Columbus.
Was it mid-July?
Next week, I believe it's mid-July.
Okay,
so SCG Columbus next weekend. Oh, where I will also be in attendance. Yeah. By the way, stop on by to my hometown.
So Augur of Bolas for Andy gets a Far and Away, I believe.
He's also, it looks like he also has Azorius Charm in hand to be able to deal with one of the elementals. Yeah,
with no Voice of Resurgence on board, it's a a little less scary to be playing Azorius Charm on your opponent's attackers. Cartel Aristocrat on the stack. Andy thinks about it, says, yeah, it resolves. You've got some 5/5s.
And these 5/5s are going to come...
Probably one at Jace. He's been splitting it so far.
I think both are going at Jace.
Oh, yeah, he's convinced the Augur. He wants to deal with Jace.
The other one is going to get bounced.
Yeah, he's going to bounce one and Azorius Charm the other, so that's it for the elementals for now. Jace survives another turn. Augur sticks around, but James with 2 spirits and a Cartel Aristocrat still on board.
I'm a little surprised that James just didn't go whole hog on the Lingering Souls.
It is apparently July 13th, not June 13th, which is somehow something got mixed up where we thought it was June 13th.
An untapped shock land as his 7th land drop, that can only mean one thing. That can only mean Sphinx's Revelation is very near.
Yeah, I'm sure James is aware of it.
James drew a High Priest of Penance, one of the worst cards he could draw in this matchup. So it's going to knock Jace down to 1. Here's a High Priest. High Priest of Penance is a card that perhaps you haven't seen all that much of.
It's like the Creature Vindicate kind of weird-esque thing. It's like a Vindicate stapled to a dude.
Yep, there he is.
Which seems like it would be really good, but it's...
Now, of course, the main phrase there is dealt damage. As we see Andy Sipka casting Sphinx's Revelation for 4. Opportunity plus Life Burst, I suppose.
Sure.
High Priest of Penance probably not going to be taking a whole lot of damage in this matchup.
No, not at all. It's very much just a 1/1, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just gonna be a Mons Goblin Raiders.
Yep. When headed to sideboards, it's going to be one of the first to come out.
So Andy with a handful of cards, still at a pretty healthy 11 at the moment.
Still in double digits against the deck full of 2 drops.
And we've got a Lingering Souls from Andy.
And Andy has Lingering Souls of his own, so I think that this signals that James should probably do his Lingering Souls as well. Because Andy's no longer on the Wrath of God plan.
Oh, is this, did he just frontside, backside, frontside?
He did.
Lingering Souls?
That is 6 Lingering Souls tokens. And there's an Immortal Servitude. Okay. So now we're in business.
Yeah, this is going to be trouble for Andy, who, again, tapped out. This is exactly when James wants to be doing this. Of course, what we know is Andy doesn't have counterspells anyway.
There's Immortal Servitude for 2. Put everything from my graveyard into play, except for the Lingering Souls, which I'll just cast later.
Or now.
Or now. There's Immortal Servitude once again. That's going to get back 2 Voice of Resurgence, a Cartel Aristocrat, and, perhaps most importantly, a Skurstag High Priest that was killed very early in the game. We're also going to flashback Lingering Souls, of course.
Yeah, this is... There you have the Skurstag High Priest, which, of course, summoning sick at the moment, but the Morbid trigger is nothing, because there's an Aristocrat on board.
Absolutely.
So he can trigger Morbid very easily and start making a lot of
demons.
A lot of demons, yeah, a demon a turn.
So Andy going frontside, backside, frontside on those Lingering Souls, perhaps a little hasty with that, will possibly need to dig into one of his Supreme Verdicts in order to deal with that. Speak of the devil,
and there it is.
There's one of them.
Going to show one. I think he's got Augur Verdict Land, was it? Maybe I didn't catch the 3rd card, but either way, he got a verdict.
Yep.
I was wondering if he was trying to set up for, like, you know, he had the frontside, backside, frontside of Lingering Souls, and then was going to cast Sorin Emblem swing and, you know, try to do a ton of damage there. Don't see a Sorin in his hand, but then again, I don't have a good look at his hand.
Looks like 3 Spirit tokens will block 3 not Spirit tokens.
Yeah.
And even if he casts the Supreme Verdict, not out of the woods yet, because these Voice of Resurgences will be leaving behind friends.
Yeah. Has he used that Jace this turn?
He has not used the Jace this turn.
So.
James drops to 17 after attacks. 3 spirits trade with 3 spirits. Warped Physique, taking out a Voice of Resurgence before Wrathing.
Yeah, I mean, if this is your plan, this is what you want to do. Like,
he's going to sacrifice it to Cartel Aristocrat to gain protection from something, most likely irrelevant, now that Supreme Verdict is about to happen.
Yeah, now he's going to Verdict, so it's going to leave behind...
a 1/1 element.
Yeah, so it was like Doom Traveler.
Sure. The best Doom Traveler there's ever been.
They're the most expensive anyway, $60 I think now.
Absolutely.
But, you know,
it's about time the Selesnians got the best creature in Standard. It's been a little while.
Sure. Off the top, I believe that was that Blood Artist?
Nope, that is it is a Blood Artist. You're right. That's a little late, unfortunately.
Yeah, he wishes he had that last turn.
Yeah, if he had that last turn, oh dear.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if Andy would have gotten out of there, yeah.
My goodness.
He's got 4. I'm sorry, no, he's only got 2. Oh no, he's got 4. Sorry, I read the wrong
Blood
one.
Artists. His other sacrifice outlet is also a 2-mana sacrifice outlet in Blood Throne Vampire.
Yeah,
which is his other 2.
His 2 of. That's what threw me off. I saw Blood Throne and thought it was 2, but it's Blood Artist. It's 4 right next to it. And Jace finally is going to do the old Factor Fiction.
Yep, and we're gonna let you.
Did we see I didn't think.
Oh, he does have 2 dissipates.
Oh yeah, we thought he had no counter spells. I missed that too.
He has
I guess
2
I trusted
dissipates
you,
in the 75, and 2 negates in the sideboard. I just looked at the list and assumed that it was very Shaheen-like. But yeah, the dissipate's definitely going to play a big role here because I thought that James could just top deck a Immortal Servitude at any point.
Right. So did I. I mean, I kept harping on that too.
Yeah, that's
I should have noticed that too. I know the list is in front of you, but I should have been paying.
My mistake.
Yeah.
You know what happens when you assume? Sometimes you're incorrect.
Sometimes they have dissipate.
Yep, sometimes they have dissipate. So we're going to move on with the action. James does not find the droids he's looking for on the top of his library. Meanwhile, Andy's going to start the beats with 2 spirits, Cumberstone ability, and
this guy.
We've seen this song and dance before. That's an Aetherling. Aetherling?
Aetherling, that's what I say. There he is. I love that artwork too. I mean,
so this is a pair of Tragic Slips. Probably not going to get the job done.
So is Aetherling supposed to be like one guy that just kind of is able to like morph himself into 2 guys? Is that what that's kind of
I think he's like Agent Smith, where he can be like in like 4 different positions at once.
Okay. I like it.
That's my assumption, at least. I could be wrong. I usually am.
Harkening back all the way to Alpha, Vesuvan Doppelganger.
Absolutely, yeah.
Who, unfortunately, the artist Quentin Hoover passed away just a few weeks ago, actually. One of my favorite artists.
One of the more iconic pieces. Originally, the card Clone didn't work within the rules of Magic. So when they commissioned the art to create a lot of cards make sense flavorfully, like Animate Dead, but don't make sense rules-wise. So now you have these extremely long rules texts on cards like Animate Dead and Clone, or at the time Clone. Then they figured out how to make it work. But by that time, they'd already commissioned the art, but decided it couldn't work, so they put it on the card, Morphling, which is why all of those cards have 2 people on them, sort of mirror images of each other. Aetherling is one of the first
They
ones.
put it on Morphling, or they put it on Vesuvan Doppelganger? Morphling was because Morphling has like the checkerboard pattern, which is with a lot of the Ursus Saga block stuff. Like if you look for in Saga block artwork.
Well, they had printed clones before, like Vesuvan Doppelganger, but they didn't really work within the rules.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And so when they decided to stop printing clones, they had already commissioned the art for that one. And put it on Morphling, so they had to invent that card.
That makes sense. Okay, I misunderstood you.
But then they finally figured out how to make it work. Meanwhile, Aetherling is going to do its thing.
Yeah, just bashed in. We had James reading in the Aetherling, of course, just to
make
see if there was a way around it.
Just to make sure there are no outs. Don't worry about it. There just aren't.
Yeah. And there you go. Aetherling's unblockable, swinging in, gonna kill you this turn. Do you have anything? Okay, Tragic Slip your Aetherling. Okay, that's a nice fog. Yeah.
Still not sure how many,
I think actually it doesn't even fog it because nothing was dead. It just -1'd it.
Right.
So,
and you can still grow it. Exactly.
All right, I don't need to grow it.
So Andy Sipka is going to take game 1 here in this battle of 8 and 1s.
On the back of Aetherling.
What else is new?
Yeah. Well, After seeing Immortal Servitude, I imagine he's going to keep those dissipates in.
Oh, absolutely, and be bringing in negates. So let's see what else he'll be bringing in. Hey, you know what else he has 4 of? Looks like he has 4 Rest in Peace. I think those might be coming in against the graveyard-centric deck.
Yeah,
I would assume so.
Really, really neuters the old Voice of Resurgence.
Absolutely.
Just that by itself is almost reasonable.
Sure, but it also neuters Lingering Souls, Immortal Servitude, which is the name of the game here, and also Skurstag High Priest and Tragic Slip. I imagine the Tragic Slips aren't staying in, but
it also kind of handicaps his own deck because he can no longer flashback Lingering Souls of his own.
Absolutely.
And he's got he can't flashback Forbidden Alchemy, so those are like.
I think that the advantage is gained by putting in Rest in Peace. Andy does not have Snapcaster Mage.
Right, so that's okay.
Andy does not have Think Twice. Andy does not have any other flashback cards other than Forbidden Alchemy and Lingering Souls.
Right.
So that's why he has the 4 Rest in Peace in the sideboard. They really don't hamper him that much.
Right. You think he just switches Rest in Peace for Lingering Souls just because?
No, I think he keeps the Lingering Souls in. I would imagine that there are more important things for him to take out. Like, I don't think Oblivion Ring is very good.
Sure, just a 2 of.
So he can take out 2 Oblivion Rings and possibly 1 of the Lingering Souls. I still think having the blockers pretending to be Moment's Peace, you know what I mean? Just a couple of chump blockers is somewhat relevant. It's possible he could take out all the Lingering Souls, bringing in... So if he takes out 4 Lingering Souls and 2 Oblivion Rings, he can bring in 4 Rest in Peace and 2 Negate. That actually seems like just a better upgrade. That's probably what he's going to do. Over on James Watson's side of things, he is a combo deck, but he has other answers to things in his sideboard in case he needs them. For example, he has War Priest of Thune to be able to take down Oblivion Rings, which we just decided aren't coming in, so don't worry too much about that card. I would anticipate Thrill Kill Assassin is going to come in as an aggressive 2-draw. Most importantly, though, 3 Liliana of the Veil out of James Watson's deck. Not only does it enable his graveyard strategy, it also is a slow-ticking clock.
Right, and it really hampers the control deck.
Absolutely. If you thought Jace was a fun Factor Fiction variant, boy, you ain't seen nothing if you haven't seen Liliana of the Veil Factor Fictioning all of his opponent's permanents.
Yeah, I think that's a really brutal one. And then again, I guess if you factor Fiction into Aetherling,
that's pretty good.
Pretty brutal too.
The other cards in James's sideboard are 3 Druid's Deliverance, probably not for this matchup.
No.
Even close to. More for Naya Blitz, Naya Aggro, that sort of thing, and also Deathray Shaman to be able to deal with other graveyard-based strategies.
So War Priest can take out Rest in Peace.
Indeed. So if he expects Rest in Peace or sees it in Game 3, if they go to a Game, or if he sees it in Game 2, and they go to a Game 3, the War Priest will almost certainly be coming in. I don't think that he would just bring them in willy-nilly. I think that he would wait to see Rest in Peace, unless he knows Andy Sipka's deck. It's likely these players have sat near each other all day, so it's possible he knows that Andy has Rest in Peace, and if he does, then he almost certainly brought in the War Priests.
Have you used those what is it, the RFG
The RFG sleeves? I have. They're not bad. They aren't the best sleeves I've ever used, but I certainly like the rounded corners a lot.
Yeah.
I think that that company is going to go up. They aren't there yet, though.
Yeah.
I would certainly suggest buying some.
We would like to try them out.
We carry them at StarCityGames.com if you want to give them a try for yourself. They were also available at Gen Con last year, I believe, for the first time. They're interesting. I think that if I were to, I would play them at like an FNM. I don't think that I would want to play a super long tournament like this.
Yeah.
Also, as you can see, even from way up here, down there in the corner, if you're playing with werewolves, you got to use checklist cards.
Exactly.
So that's another thing. But personally, I'm a sucker for the creamsicle. That's a delicious looking sleeve.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Thanks. Now I want a creamsicle.
Man, you think the snack bar has creamsicles?
I don't think so, because I think if I had noticed that, I mean, I was over there, and I think I would have bought one.
Would have gone deep.
Or at least I would have remembered the creamsicle.
Absolutely.
Something about creamsicles, just irresistible.
That sounds awesome. It's summertime.
It certainly is.
What's better than the creamsicle in the middle of summertime?
Crabs.
Come on.
Steamed crabs.
That's a very good point, Mr. Maryland.
Yeah, sorry.
You're from Baltimore. I'm originally from Silver Spring, where you work now.
Yep.
If you ever go to Maryland, you should get crabs.
Yes.
Wait a second. That didn't.
Steamed crabs.
Steamed crabs.
Bertha's mussels.
That's right.
There you go.
Phillips Seafood. Just a little bit of free advertising for all those Maryland-based businesses.
So, Hallowed Fountain passed James Watson on a Temple Garden. And a voice of resurgence on his second
Shocking
turn.
that James Watson has a turn 2 play.
Yeah.
Andy, however, has a turn 2 play of his own.
And he finds, well, I don't think he whiffed. He's looking at his hand. I think I saw Azorius Charm and Warp Physique, but, you know,
man,
didn't get there.
These Augur Boluses today have been finding spells.
Yeah, we've seen a couple whiffs.
Have we?
I think 2. I think Adam and I saw 2 whiffs. Gets a Forbidden Alchemy off.
That Forbidden Alchemy is going to much easier find the Rest in Peace that he's probably digging for.
Yeah.
Because Rest in Peace is likely game over, except Liliana of the Veil.
Yeah, she's gonna.
Very powerful magician. We'll bring up Liliana of the Veil just to take another look at her here.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're familiar with Liliana of the Veil. Ever since she was printed, she's been in high demand, highly played. The +1 ability, each player discards a card, is going to be the one that we use here. She also has a built-in Diabolic Edict.
Yep. 3-mana Planeswalkers tend to be very good, except for Tybalt.
And he's not a 3-mana Planeswalker.
No, he's not. I guess that's true. Ajani, though, there's 3-mana
Ajani has, I think Ajani
underplayed, maybe?
Is underplayed a little. I think that it was never really the right metagame for Ajani. Unfortunately.
That's fair. We may be seeing another 3-mana Planeswalker come back in M14, you know, if what I hope is
if the rumors are true and Chandra becomes...
Maybe, I've heard of that rumor, yeah, but I was saying somebody coming back, because there's going to be a Jace in M14, it's just which Jace is it going to be, you know, and I'm hoping for the 3-mana Jace.
So we're going to discard, we discarded the Forbidden Alchemy, which I suppose isn't too bad.
Right.
We've discarded a couple of flashback spells, right? Or
he cast Lingering Souls. So the first Liliana activation, Andy discarded Azorius Charm and James discarded Land. Second one, Andy discards Forbidden Alchemy and James discards Bolt of the Archangel. So James must be pretty flooded, or he's feeling pretty flooded. He doesn't have 2 drops to be putting in there, that's for sure.
His hand has an extra Liliana, it has an Immortal Servitude, and I believe it has...
Maybe I didn't see
I think that
anything
might
else.
have been it, actually.
Yeah, so the other, the flashback of Lingering Souls happens for Andy. He gets in with 2 spirits.
So we have 2 Immortal Servitudes and a land.
Oh, so that's why, okay.
And a Tragic Slip.
Yeah. Alright, Liliana's going to
make people discard.
Tick up. And Aetherling. Ooh, that's a big hit for Liliana.
Yeah, that's a nice one to be able to get out of there.
What is Andy holding? That's what I want to know.
Well, Andy's the offense right now. This is one of the strengths of the Shaheen Surani style Esper deck.
Yeah, he does
that you don't have to necessarily sit back and do nothing. You can randomly start attacking, as we see here.
Yeah, everybody in from Andy Sipka.
Everyone into the Liliana. Yep. Liliana dies.
We know another Liliana's about to...
Yep, another Liliana is on board.
Unless Andy has the Dissipator in the gate. Yeah, he says it's good.
I think everyone's going to discard here, and Tragic Slip will probably be what's hitting the bin.
He may still be on the stack here because... Okay, never mind.
We're awaiting dice.
Yeah.
So using using the minus ability, not particularly good.
It's actually pretty awful
against 6 creatures.
Yeah.
One of the weaknesses for Liliana, of course, against the Lingering Souls deck. James keeping this Tragic Slip, I'm not really entirely sure why. And James discards a land. Interesting. Wants to keep all of his business spells. He knows he has more lands in his deck.
Yeah,
so
that must be the plan.
If he draws those later on. Sorin is what we kept.
This is scary because I think Sorin's going to make an emblem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Sorin definitely makes an emblem.
And now I think you just go for the flyers
Not to mention making the Augur of Bolas big enough to kill the Voice of Resurgence.
Yeah. I think maybe you want to keep somebody back to protect Soren from a swing back, potentially. But
a pair of souls coming in, probably taking out the Liliana, and then those two are going to go into James instead, and the Augur going.
I think that's exactly how. I may have kept back one or kept back both Augurs,
just in case of elimination spell.
Right, right. Which we know James has a tragic slip.
Right. So we can use.
What he can do is block the Augur with his Voice of Resurgence. It dies, then he kills the other Augur with the tragic slip, and then swing back and kill Soren. Right. So that's what he's going to do. He's going to block. Voice of Resurgence dies. That triggers Morbid. He gets an elemental.
But he doesn't have another land.
Oh, yeah. Not.
Now, why did he discard the land well, I guess, okay, so a number of things. The game plan did not come together. James drew 1 2-drop in his deck of nothing but 2 drops. So that's one thing. The other thing, of course, being Andy was able to go on the super offensive here with Lingering Souls and Sword.
Yeah, I'm sitting there still thinking it's the same. Like, I wasn't really thinking, I just, like, it felt like the same Liliana. I looked at it and forgot that he just cast that Liliana was tapped out.
Soren going to tick up for a turn before it probably bites the dust next turn to give his team +2/+0 and Dyna charge for the rest of the game.
All right, here comes.
In come the armies.
Pretty much everybody.
12 power. Take 10.
Yeah, so the Elemental gets in front of one of the Augurs. James down to 6, already down a game, and it's not looking good.
I'm not sure what James can draw here.
No, he's got a slip for one of the Augurs. That's really not enough. He's got another slip
for both Augurs, I think.
Yeah, so, yeah, there it is. Andy Sipka with Esper Control takes down James Watson's Immortal Servitude deck. But that was still like one of the more interesting decks I think we've seen all day.
Absolutely.
I wonder what his other loss was to. And there you see Andy pulling out Rest in Pieces.
Yep.
Looked like he only pulled out 2. But I imagine he boarded in all 4. I would